Okay, hello and good morning. Let's talk about today's bell work. All right, for this right here, we're still in 7.1. We're going to finish that up today. Let's take a look here. Here you're going to multiply by your least common denominator. Let me make sure you guys understand this, okay? You take the 2 and you take the 3, and then you take the biggest one. The biggest one here is 3. Does 2 go into 3? If it doesn't, then you double it, 6. Does 2 go into 6? Yes. Does 3 go into 6? Yes. 6 is your least common denominator. So you're going to multiply each one of these by 6. So if I put the 6 here, 6 divided by 2 is 3. So that's going to give me 3x right here. If I put a 6 here, 3 goes into 6, 2, that's going to give me 2x. And then 6 times 10 is going to be 60. That gives me 5x. And I think that's going to be 12. 60 divided by 5, I think, is 12. And that's it. And that's how you do that. Okay? So let's just try another one. Least common denominator. I want you to write this one down. Excuse me. Put down 2, 2 and 5. Okay? Now, take the biggest, which is 5. Does 2 go into 5? No. Double it. 10. Does 2 go into 10? Yes. That's your least common denominator. All right. Let's get off of that. Let's get back to this. You've had this before where you try to get a letter by itself. So this is called literal equations. So you're dividing by 3, so I would start off with multiplying by 3. So you get 3v is equal to big B times h. Now all you do, since you're multiplying, is divide by h and you're done. And there's your answer. Big B is equal to this. All right, on a new sheet of paper, copy this down. All right, let's take a look here. We're going to solve this and graph this. So here, you have inequalities. So draw your line. You're still going to add 3 to both sides. And then you're going to divide by 5. Now keep in mind that if you would divide by a negative, you got to change the inequality. But here we're dividing by a positive. So to graph this, and I want you to graph them today, here's 0, 1, 2, and there's no line under here, so it's going to be an open circle, and the 2 marks here goes towards the x. So x is bigger, so bigger would go this way. So it's anything bigger than 2. All right, let's try another one. This one right here is a compound inequality. Draw 2 lines. You're going to subtract 3 from all 3 parts here. When you do that, you get a negative 5 is less than negative b, because this cancels. And then less than 2, 5 minus 3. Here you're going to divide by a negative. Okay? Divide by a negative 1. When you divide by a negative, you have to change the direction of the inequality. So this inequality becomes now greater, and make sure you change it if you multiply or divide by a negative. Double negative's a positive, and this one right here is going to be a negative 2. So to graph that one, you're going to go 2 or negative 2 and then 5. There's no line under here, so they're going to be open circles, and it's anything in between here. That's called a compound inequality, and that's how you do it. If you get stuck today, ask. If you don't know how to find your least common denominator, I'll help you with that again. Here's your work for today. Let's turn our attention now to geometry. All right. There are some problems where you're going to have to be able to find the area. So look here, I gave you a hint. So what you're going to do is drop an altitude. This is an isosceles triangle, so when you drop an altitude, it splits that 60 into a 30 here. So this becomes a 30, 60, 90. You need the height, okay, and you need the base. You need the base. So we're going to put an X and a Y here. Okay, so we're all set up. Now remember that trick, you have to drop the altitude. So we're going to pull out one of these triangles, this triangle right here. So we need X, we need Y. We're going to leave it as a 60 right here and an 8. So I'm going to stand here. I want opposite over hypotenuse. So that's going to be the sine of 60 degrees is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, which is 8. That's going to give me X. And Y is adjacent over hypotenuse. So that's going to be the cosine of 60 degrees is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse. Now, once I get to that point, I solve it. So I'm going to get 8 times the sine of 60 is my height. And then here, I'm going to multiply by 8. I get 8 times the cosine of 60. And that gives me half of the base, so I have to multiply by 2. So that's going to be 16 times the cosine of 60 degrees, and that's my base. Now, area of a triangle, any triangle, is 1/2 the base, or the height, and the height is all of this times the base, or base times height. So this is my base, and that's my height. And I might have it backwards, but that's okay. So you get your calculator. Now watch carefully, and I want you to do this. Get your calculators out. Here we go. I'm going to start here. I'm going to take 60 sine times 8. That's my height. And then I'm going to do times. I'm going to do 60 cosine times 16, press equals. And the last thing you're going to do is divide by 2. Now make sure you get 27.7 square inches. It's area. And that's how you do that. And you need to be able to do that if you're going to be successful on some of these problems. This one right here, peanut butter cookies are best in milk chocolate and Ovaltine. There it is. Okay, this right here, you want to find the length of this. The whole thing is pi times diameter. So the diameter here is 4 plus 4, which gives you 8. So it's going to be pi times the diameter, which is 8, from here to here. And then the fraction is 20 degrees out of 360 degrees. And then you work that out. And we'll work it out in a minute, but let's set this other one up. The fraction is still going to be 20 degrees over 360. But here you're finding the area of the sector, so you're going to do pi, so times 3.14, and then times the radius squared. The radius is 4, so 4 squared is 16. All right, let's work both of these. Clear your calculator out. So you're going to work backwards. I would just start right here. So I would say 20 times 3.14 times 8, press equals, divide by 360. So your first one is going to be 1.4 inches long. So from here to here would be 1.4 inches. All right, now let's do the area. Clear your calculator. We're going to take 20 times 3.14 times 16, press equals, divide by 360, and you get 2.8 square inches. This is area. So this one is like the crust on a slice of pizza. This one is like the whole slice of pizza, including the crust. Okay? All right, let's talk about today's work. Today's work, you're going to have a little worksheet, and I'm going to show it to you right now. But before I do, on a new sheet of paper, copy these down. All right, you have to be able to convert. And when I was in school, I memorized this. So here's how you do it. you memorize two things. You memorize pi over 180 and 180 over pi. And I used to get confused which one to use, but let me show you how to do it. So if we take number 1 here, and we take 2 over 3 pi, since pi is at the top, and you can rewrite this, 2 pi over 3, same thing. Since pi is at the top, that means it's radian. You want to get rid of it. The only way you're going to get rid of it is if you use this one. So I would multiply this one right here by 180 over pi. And what happens is the pi's cancel. So now you're going to get 2 times 180. Press equals, and then divide by 3. So that gives you 120 degrees. So 120 degrees is the conversion of this radian measure. Now let's take 60 degrees and let's change it to radian measure. So you want to multiply this one. You want to have pi over 180. You want to end up with pi on this one. So 60 goes into 61. 60 goes into this 3 times. So that's going to be pi over 3. So 60 degrees is really pi over 3 radians. Remember, a radian is like 57 degrees. We talked about that yesterday. All right, so today's worksheet, and you're going to have to be able to convert. This whole first page is the arc length, and there are the answers. Okay, and I gave you the formula. So this whole page, now these right here you got to convert. Okay, so remember it's either pi over 180 or 180 over pi. To convert, I think you're going to use that one. All right, let's go on. On the back side is area of the sector, and there it is. There's your work, and we talked about this. So good luck, and I'll see you in class.